Hi, guys. Welcome to the Luci Show, another episode. And today I'll be talking about existentialism, pretty much why we are here, as you can see on my sign over there. And I talked about how this is one of those things that I'm very interested in. And this is the reason for my second channel, the Luci Show. Main channel, as some of you may know, is Living with Luci. So if you want to check that out, that's more talking about finance, stocks, and I have cooking videos on there. So if you guys want to check that out, main channel link down in the description below. But on this channel, I kind of want to talk about just stuff that I'm interested in that has nothing to do with like stocks and crypto. Oh, hi guys. The meaning of life. So I do want to start this conversation off. I don't expect there to be a lot of people interested in these things. Um, just because growing up, I find that usually I like to talk about this stuff a lot, even when I was like 8 years old. But a lot of people around me aren't as prone to want to bring it up. Some people find it, I guess, a little uncomfortable. So for anybody who's just like either extremely anti open-mindedness and talking about imagination of what you think life could possibly be about, then I definitely would not be watching this video. So just fair warning. Any of the comments in here, please be respectful. I do think that anybody is entitled to their own belief on whatever it is that you want to believe in about what life is about, what if there is an afterlife and death and all of that good stuff. So I do think no John, no Dogecoin stuff. I know I forgot to remove my pillows, but no money talk on this channel. So yeah, we'll talk about the other stuff in life because I feel like as much as we or I feel like I'm chasing after things like money and doing good with stocks and crypto and all that, there's always just something else missing. I feel like no matter how far I get in life or how many obstacles I cross, I always find myself eventually thinking, like, well, what is the point of all this? What comes after you get your house and your car or your spouse and kids and all of that? Is there more to it? And I don't know why or if everyone else thinks like this too, but I just feel like ever since I was a kid, it was like one of the things that I've always been interested in, just curious what other people think. So you guys feel free to let me know what you think in the live stream if you want. You could just hear me blab on. Um, but I'm going to share with you guys what some people have shared with me, what their ideas are. And feel free to either say that is what you think as well, or if you disagree with it and why, but definitely just be open-minded and respectful. I think that anybody is entitled to whatever it is that they think. And it's interesting to hear other people's thoughts on why we're here, what the point of all of this is. So I'll start off with one of the repetitive ideas I've heard from people. And that is that you make your own meaning in life, right? I think if you were to ask any scientist or anybody religious, like what the point of life is, they'll have their own reasoning behind it. But I find that a lot of people I've met they just usually go with the generic, you make your own meaning in life. So I'm like, okay, well, what is the point of life? Like, why are we doing this? Obviously, you have no choice if you're having this conversation with me. You were born without a choice. But then I usually, when I have conversations with people, like this is including like my family, friends, strangers, even people on an Uber ride, I've had conversations with. I find that most people just say that you're just here to make your own meaning, and whether you're happy or not, whether you want to make a lot of money in life or not, or you want to live on a farm or maybe in the jungle, I don't know. It's entirely up to you as long as you are happy and you make up your own rules, and that's it. That's the point of life. But that's not really what I think about that keeps me up at night. I think the reason why I'm usually thinking about what the point of all this is isn't just like, yes, I do believe that. I do agree with that. I do think that you should come up with your own meaning in life and obviously not try to live your life under somebody else's rule and someone else's meaning, because that would be very sad and very rough life. I mean, if you just kind of have a cookie cutter shaped life that you are trying to imitate off of somebody else who claims they're happy, then I think that's going to be really, really rough. But for me, I want to figure out more of like what people's thoughts are on like why we're even here. Like why is there day and night? Why do we go by 365 days? Well, that's because the earth turns the way it turns. But aside from that, just like why is everything the way it is? Why do we just have one moon on this planet? Why are there so many other planets out there? Why do we have like a black hole? Why is everything kind of situated the way that it is? I think it's magical. Like, if you think about it, it's pretty magical that, well, we're the only planet with life on it so far. I mean, we haven't found anything else yet. I mean, that's up to Elon Musk if he wants to find the other species in life or in this galaxy somewhere. Gregory says, sorry guys, I need to read your comments. I got Jason says, life is about buying and holding Doge. You guys, I will do a live stream later on Dogecoins. Chill out. DX Nieto says, and guys, if you're coming onto this live stream, I really appreciate it if you could smash that like button. It really helps out the channel, and consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell. I don't expect too many people to be here with me talking about existentialism and life on a Saturday, but if you are, I really appreciate it. There is no true meaning to life. You just have to make your own. DX, yeah. So that's, like I said, that's one of the main answers that I get from most people. Jason's, you're missing Jesus in your life simple. Okay, you're entitled to your own opinion. And Gregory says, my dad said, you go in this world with nothing, you go out of this world with nothing. Really agree with your dad. I mean, you really do. But it's funny, huh? I feel like, Gregory, it's like you come into the world with nothing and you're supposed to leave with nothing. But during the span of like around this 100-year, pretty much 80-year to 90-year lifespan, we chase after so many things. It's insane. And this is like knowing that you're going to leave with absolutely nothing is the part that I think sometimes I can't even get around my own mind. And this is me growing up knowing that I want to have my own house. I want to have lots of money in the bank, and I still do. Like, none of those things have changed, even though I feel like I've learned a lot throughout my life and become a lot less caring about having endless money. But it's like I still chase after it. If you're gonna hand me like $1,000,000 in front of my face, and I would probably take it. I wouldn't be like, no, no, life is just about coming in with nothing and leaving with nothing. So it's really funny. I find that even though most of us, I think, would agree that you're gonna leave with nothing, and it's kind of like all this battle that you go through in life, all these hurdles and hardships to make a lot of money and to maybe be heartbroken through relationships, trying to get this life that you want, or this perfect family, or perfect body, perfect love, everything perfect. But then in the end, yeah, you're just gonna peace out with none of it. Miriam, I believe we are here to love and serve the Lord. All right. John 1000, life is short. It's as fast as a blink of an eye in universal timeline. Love and be happy. I really do agree with that, John. I do think that it is crazy, crazy short. And I mean, I feel like it's funny. I don't know if you guys agree with this, but during the toughest times of my life, like anytime I'm going through what feels like depression or just a lot of bad days, let's just call it a lot of bad days connected together, it feels like time's just moving really slowly. But I think life is extremely short, especially when you're having a good time. It's strange how that works. But I usually find that even when I was working at like 9 to 5 jobs I hated, I would just stare at the clock constantly. Like, when am I going to leave? When do I get to leave? And the time just felt like 30 minutes would just be like 3 hours. It would take forever. Gregory, I think in life people have a purpose, good or bad. It's purpose. Interesting. I do believe that, and I kind of believe in like the butterfly effect. So it's like, even if you do something bad, you could potentially cause something good to happen, and then vice versa. You could be doing a good deed, and then with a butterfly effect somehow cause somebody to maybe do something bad, but it's not your fault. It's just kind of the way that life works. It's insane. What about children? Do you want to be a mom? In terms of like life, and like, do I want to create more life? I honestly always thought I did, but when I say I always thought I did, I think it's because I was trying to live a life that I thought was just normal. What's considered normal growing up when I was like 8 years old is like everybody's supposed to have a family and you're supposed to have kids. So I think as I grew older, I'm not sure if it's something that I want to do 100%, because I'm still trying to figure out, do I want to do it for me, or do I want to do it because my family would like me to have kids, or I want someone to like maybe take care of me in the future, because I don't want to have a child to have it take care of me. I feel like it's kind of like using a life that I'm giving the life a gift. Like, I think giving, like having a child would be like giving the gift of life to somebody. Like, I could never hate my parents because they gave me life. I wouldn't be here. And if I didn't want to be here, I'll peace out. So I feel like it's a great gift to someone, but I also don't want to put strains on it, like pressure to be like, oh, well, I had you. So now you owe me a bunch of money and to take care of me in the future, which is sad because I see this all the time. I see parents relying on their children as if their children owe them something. So I'm definitely trying to figure out, do I want it for me or do I want it because I want to fit in and with the rest of the society? So still a question, Gregory, but I do like babies. I think they're cute, but I also think puppies are cute. Hector the Dude, it's a race. Knowledge is power. I wish I knew the meaning of life. I do wish, okay, it's funny because I love talking about it. But here's the thing I want to ask you guys. If somebody was in front of you, and I had this like, just this thought like racing through my mind one time. This is like 2, 3 years ago. Um, where I pictured this old man capable of giving me every single answer I wanted in life and what the meaning of life was. And it was like right in front of me. And then they were pretty much were like, if you want it, there it is. And then I picture myself saying no to that. So I don't know if that's weird, but it was kind of like an epiphany moment that maybe, even though as much as I love to question it, and we all love to question what the meaning of life is, it's like, can we actually handle it? And maybe the reason we can't find the meaning of life, is it possible that we don't actually want to know, or maybe we can't handle? I mean, just picture this. Imagine if you actually had the book of like, this is the way to live your life. And then let's say paradise exists, call it heaven, call it whatever you will. And let's say to get to paradise or get to heaven, you have to do this, this, and that. Let's say it is cookie cutter shaped and you can't commit any sins. You can't say anything bad about anybody. You couldn't have lied or stolen or cheated ever in your life. And you definitely have to be married or to have a child or have a dog or something like that. Would you really want to live your life like that, even if you were told that this is a perfect way to go? I don't think I'd be down for it. So I think a part of me, as much as I'm curious about what the point of life is, I don't think I'm down to actually be handed um like a book of like how to live. I don't think most of us would want to. I mean, do you guys want to do that? Sorry, I'm a little slow with the comments because with each comment, there's so much to say. Um, J Joe 2.0 says, what you think in your head, what you truly believe is what becomes real. I like that. I like that. And I do agree with it because I do think that how you perceive your life is pretty much how you're going to live your life. And there's nothing more real than what you perceive. Because, for example, I mean, this happens all the time. I've seen people who live, in my opinion, perfect lives, got it all. And those people will tell me that it's not actually that great because the way that they're perceiving it is different from the way that I perceive what I think a great life might be. So again, sometimes people think money can buy you happiness, or whether if you're in a good relationship and you have kids and you have money in the bank and a huge house, that represents happiness, but it truly isn't. Because I could tell you guys, I've lived with multiple different families, extended families in my life, and friends. So I've seen a lot. And I definitely think that money 100% does not buy you happiness. And just because people grow up in a home where it may seem really nice, parents are together, not divorced, a lot of children, also doesn't really mean happiness necessarily. It's more about the family within and each individual and how they work together. Low roller scratcher, did Dogecoin? No Dogecoin stuff. When you do a kickflip, you reach nirvana. Low roller scratcher, I quit my job, go full time, taking online survey. So wow, quit your job to go full time taking online surveys. I've heard of that, but never done it myself as a full time job. Somebody says, "Hi, Lucy, you should." Okay. No, no perfection. We're not talking about Doge right now. I'll be on a live stream later, guys. If you want to talk about Doge coins and money and all that stuff, I'll be on a later live stream after I have my dinner. Down in the description below is my original main channel, Living with Lucy. Feel free to subscribe to both channels, though. The kids will be named Dogecoin. I always live by YOLO. YOLO. Love it. Um, Lucy will name her kids Dogecoin. That's if I have kids, guys. Is that a Long Island iced tea? No, it's not actually. It's some type of like a energy drink. It's a strawberry kiwi energy drink. My mom has 7 brothers and 6 sisters. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of kids. I've heard of families like that. I'm not from such a large family, but that's cute. Uh, very tiring for the mother. Are you afraid of death, and do you think there is life after death, Ryan? I love those questions. Um, do I think there's life after death? I have so many theories, but they're just theories. So I don't really know what I believe in. The longest running theory I've had and the most imaginative one that I've had is that you know how you fall asleep, you can't control your dreams, right? Um, my favorite theory that I came up with is what would happen after I die, or I hope that would happen, is if I could pass away, hopefully in my sleep, or I don't know. If it was a freak accident, then I guess I just won't know what happens. But either way, my theory is more like I would like it if I could pass away when I'm old, old, old in my sleep. And then I wouldn't know that I actually passed away. And then I would wake up in somebody else's mind, or maybe a baby's mind or something. And then everything would just all have been a dream. And then this life I may dream of in another body, something like that. That's probably like my favorite outcome, but that's just like out of my imagination, Ryan. Um, do I think that I could live again after death, maybe in like rebirth or something? I'd like to think no, but I know it's a happier thought to think yes, because I think a lot of the reasons why we as humans, I think, even come up with these theories is because it makes us feel better. It's like comforting, right? If you have a loved one that passed away, you don't want to feel like they're forever gone. So everybody takes it in differently. For me, when I had a loved one pass away, I don't necessarily have to think about them having rebirth, but sometimes I do look at like flying butterflies and think maybe that's them if there is such a thing as reincarnation. And other times, because I don't necessarily believe that there is or there isn't, these are all just like ideas and theories I like to think about. Sometimes I just look up at the stars. I think that's the easiest for me, and just picture them as being able to hear me if I am talking in my mind to the stars or something like that, to someone who passed away. That I think more people that I know personally, or the older people in my family, like to think that there is. And I've spoken to a lot of like elderly people that believe there is life after death, definitely, and that a lot of the karmic retributions are due to the previous life. And again, I think that's a great way to think, especially if you have hardships you're dealing with in this current life and you're like, I don't know why this is happening to me. So I do know people who've gone through like really rough stuff, whether it's a lot of surgery or cancer, or just really horrible divorce, losing a child or something like that. And these people usually turn to like life after death and thinking maybe their previous life they did a lot of bad things, and that's why it's currently having these bad karma retributions in this life, and that's why they would get things like cancer or a bad relationship run in, stuff like that. I personally don't like to go that route because I feel responsible more for my own current life, and I feel like if bad things are happening in this life, it could be because I might have done something bad. I mean, I've literally seen karma happen like that for me personally. Like if I said something bad about someone, someone else would say something bad about me, like kind of along those lines. And if I hurt somebody, then somebody in my life in the future, 2 to 3 years later, it has happened, would then hurt me. So that's kind of how I view it. But then I guess it is easier to use the previous definition if you're a child, or your child, somebody who hasn't really done anything in life. Has something like a disease that you can't cure. So that I think with things like that, it's much easier to go the other route, the other thought process. So therefore, I think you just gotta think whatever works out for you, and it may be different. Like I know people who weren't religious at all in the beginning of their lives, and then all of a sudden their children got sick or something like that, and then this whole family just turned like completely religious, and they believe that religion helped their child get better. So I mean, to each his own. I don't judge. So I feel like at whatever point in time in your life, whatever you need to think, if you got to think that, then go ahead. Hi, Jim Roar. I think relationship is based on loyalty, trust, and respect. Yes. Or not, this is not a relationship conversation. We had that live stream last time, but that's cool. I do agree with that. I'm number one on royalty, trust, and respect. I think in life we would have a much better world if there was more royalty, trust, and respect. Just more respect, period. Or just treat your neighbor the way you'd like to be treated. Is that the way that it's said? My dreams tell the future a lot. It's scary sometimes. Oh my gosh. I can't say I've ever predicted the future, but I have had a lot of dreams where I've either seen architecture repeated in real life, but it was like, let's say a decade ago when I dreamed it, slash dreams that felt like it came true later in life. So it is kind of creepy when you get those, but I don't get those often. I think like in terms of dreams, the weirdest type of dreams that I've had is the ones where you're like paralyzed and you know you're in a dream, but like I can't wake up. So that's like the worst dreams I've ever had. Thank you for your videos, Werewolf Light. You're welcome. Thank you guys for joining me. I know I'm a strange one. I feel like if you watch my cooking stuff earlier on my Living with Luci channel and my crypto and stock stuff, it is weird to have a YouTuber come out and talk to you about their thoughts on life and relationships and why we exist. But this is just the stuff I'm interested in. I'm not even getting paid for this. So if you don't mind, it would really help out this channel. Maybe one day I'll be monetized. If you could subscribe and ring that notification bell so you know whenever future videos are and play these long videos like and gain my hours. But yeah, I can't help it. Like this just to me is what I'm passionate about. I think I've never had a job that I was like truly, truly passionate about in life that I felt like made a difference. But whenever I talk about like the meaning of life with somebody, like a stranger, complete stranger, or friends of friends, mutual friends and stuff, and this is sober slash after you had a drink or something, I enjoy it because I think more of us need to talk about this stuff and we would be healthier. I don't think we need therapy as much. I know a lot of people close to me would pay for therapy, a lot of money just to like kind of get out their like darkness or things that they can't really figure out on their own, either through journaling or just talking to close people by them. And I know it's hard, especially if you've gone through a lot of rough things in life. But I think it helps me out. I think that's like no matter what I've gone through, just constantly knowing that life is a crazy hot mess, period. And our world is pretty insane. And then always just trying to figure out what the point of it all is, knowing that nobody knows what'll actually happen. But I just enjoy kind of coming up with theories. And I think, I mean, this may help you out if you are ever going through a rough time. But for me, whenever I feel like the world is just too much, or it's like my world feels like it's a little bit piled up, I just think like nobody really knows what the point of all this is. So like all this pressure that you throw on yourself sometimes, I don't know if you guys do it, I do it. So all this pressure sometimes I throw on myself to like have the life that I picture myself to live or be a certain way, even like look a certain way to be as fit as I want to be. I'm not saying to let go of your goals, but sometimes let's say a huge truck just drives through your life and knocks you out and you feel like you can't catch up to what you wanted. It always helps to know that like just living, I think, just being a part of the world is quite beautiful. And yeah, we don't need to chase after all these things that we may think we want from like social media and whatnot. Not saying that I'm not going to be working hard on my portfolios for trading and stuff, but sometimes, yeah, I just think like there's just so much more. I had a dream once where I couldn't move, but my arm was a snake eating a frog and I could feel it. Creepy. Sammy, that is creepy. I mean, I've had worse nightmares than that. But some of them are really epic. Like some of them I could open my eyes and I could like, but I pictured myself actually flying out of a helicopter like free falling. So you're like sleeping on your bed, but I could feel myself like falling from the sky. It was crazy. John Wiz shoes can give you crazy experience. Yes, I've heard. I've heard. Hey Lucy, are you boozing again? No, I'm drinking an energy drink, guys. This is just one of those Saturdays that I feel like having a chat with y'all. Um, I have a biblical answer to why we are here. Well, go for it. Sleep paralysis. Yes, I think that's what it's called, Jimbo. It happens to me once when I was young. Yeah, sleep paralysis is no joke. Sometimes it's really epic when I'm in dreams and I feel like I can control the dream. I think I've told you guys in my previous live streams, like I've had dreams where I could control my dreams. Like I knew I was dreaming. Those are pretty epic. But sadly they don't last long. It's like you have to be in it and then like you realize you catch yourself noticing that this is an actual dream and then you start to control it and you like fly in the air and can start like having magical powers and stuff. So I had that, but I can't control it. So I haven't had it for like years now. I think at least 2 to 3 years. The only drinks alcohol when Doge, she only drinks alcohol when Doge is up 20% or more for the day. Actually, I don't drink on my live streams on Living with Lucy unless Dogecoin hits a new all-time high and I'm celebrating with you guys through like a wine stream. God, it's coming soon. I need a hug, a Doge pillow when I sleep. I actually don't hug my Doge pillow when I sleep, but when I sleep, all these thoughts kind of flutter my mind. Okay, since I haven't heard from anybody what their thoughts about what happens, or what the point of life is, or what you think the afterlife is, I'll just share with you guys more other ideas that people have told me about the reason of life. I've also heard like simulation ideas. I mean, not from really close friends, but just like on the internet and from mutual friends. More of like maybe we're all here because this is more of like a simulation, which kind of implies like maybe there's a greater being out there controlling the world. And I kind of think that's cute. That's like a nice way of putting it. Especially if you think like how humans created video games is. Hi Don. You know how we created video games, right? So an interesting thing I thought was if humans can create video games, like these virtual simulations and having people live out their entire lives, and all of that, and we can create robots, what if we are the robots of another being? And that could be, you could call it aliens, you could call it gods of the universe, whatever you want to call it. But I kind of see that as like a possible outcome. For example, it's hard to picture there being a greater being than us because I think humans think that they're like the wisest thing on the planet. And since we haven't found any other species, I guess you could assume that for now. And if you think about the way we think and the way we look at an ant on the ground, you probably feel like you know so much more than the ant to the to in a way where like the ant could never fathom what you are thinking and the way our brain works. And on a scientific level, that probably is true. But I also like to argue that I guess the ant could possibly have a way of thinking that we could possibly never be able to fathom. So I think if you think of it in the way of like us looking at ants and therefore maybe another entity or maybe like another being out there could possibly look at us as if we're ants, but we just think we're really wise and really intelligent. So I always thought that that was one way to explain it of how like we can't maybe understand how there could be another realm or maybe like another world or even a greater being than us, whether we can see it or not, that's actually using us as a virtual simulation of some sort. I could picture it. Not saying that that makes you any less real, but what if we are kind of being watched in a sense, the way that ants are being watched? I mean, you do know the universe is huge, so there could possibly be. I guess I'll be long gone if we ever do discover those beings, but I always thought that that was like one of those things that kept me up at night. Like, what if there is another being out there just kind of watching all of us and making mistakes, making good choices in life, and they're not going to come and save us or help us, but it's just kind of like maybe like a reality TV show the kinds that we create and watch and make up, but they're doing it on another scale, and then we are the testing subjects. And by the way, if you are enjoying this video about existentialism and why we are all here, feel free to have an input instead of just listening to me babbling on about all my crazy theories that I've heard of and in my head. Really appreciate you guys. Oh, what? If there is an after, okay, wait. I think you're richer than anyone here watching your show. I wish I can be like you money wise. Too bad I don't own stock nor crypto. Oh, but I see you. I recognize you. I think it's Chinese characters. I don't know what those say, but I recognize you as in I've seen you on my crypto and stock one on the Living with Luci show. So I'm surprised you don't invest at all, but I'm not richer than the people here because I recognize some people that admitted to how many Dogecoins they have, and I'm definitely not the richest. But we'll save that money talk for later when I finish my dinner afterwards and have a live stream with you guys on coins. I actually stopped looking at my phone today, just trying to live my life and think about existentialism. I think the time after your life is the same as the time before you were born. It makes a lot of sense, but I don't like to think that's it. LOL. CX. I think you can only think about this stuff so much, so I don't like bombard people's minds with it all the time, just right now with you guys. But definitely like talking about life period, sometimes it gets a little too heavy and everybody's different. For me, I find it interesting. But I think definitely don't bring this out to like conversations with everyone because certain people out there would definitely not be able to stomach it and be open to hearing your crazy theories if you did have crazy theories. So yeah. Mr. Hi, Mr. My Faith in Christ says hi, Don. Henry Beadle Jr. says, if there is an afterlife, which version of ourselves are we? Yeah. The elderly before death are crumpled selves. If we died in an accident, will people who die very young stay as toddlers in heaven? Yes. So it is a crazy thing to think about. That's why I'm very confused with the idea of an afterlife, because that would mean whoever was the first, so the first being, or technically depends on what your idea of how we were created is. Some people believe in the we were once fish and then turn into another being and then another being. And I think at the very basic level, if you think about science, the idea is that we actually, well, I think everything was fungus before, right? And then we split. And then we basically went from plant to like animal. So technically, I guess we went from life as just plants on the earth to like animal, right? But just like a tiny little atom molecule thing. And then eventually, whether you believe you become fish and then ape and whatever to humans, apes. That's one way of thinking about it. But then wouldn't that mean you're a reincarnation if you believe in afterlife? We're just all reincarnation of like fungus slash maybe apes or fish. So it's like which life is really, really real? Or maybe they're all real. I saw this other theory. I think it's on Kurzagit, but don't quote me. Because you guys know I like to watch the Kurzagit, like all the theories and stuff like that. I think I saw on Kurzagit's video, or maybe it was somebody else, but it talked about how what if we are all the same person? That one's a little psycho, but it's basically saying like, what if I am you and you're me and we are all each other. So every good thing you do in this life or bad thing, it's like kind of like we're all in it together, but we don't notice until you die or something that we're like all the same person. That one kind of boggles my mind even more than the afterlife one. It's like the afterlife one, you kind of take care of yourself. You're like, okay, cool. So I was once a monkey and then I turned into an ape and then the ape did something bad. And then now I'm like getting something bad to happen to me now as a human being in the next life and the life after that. But if we're all connected and we're all the same person, even the person who's chatting in this live stream right now, this is getting into some weird stuff. But yeah, that's like really hard for me to like wrap my mind around. But then again, I'm not that smart. So maybe that's why I can't wrap my mind around us all being the same being after all. Like we are all one. That's a little crazy. We are all like digital assets of the Almighty. Oh, 40K. Oh, I forgot to read that. What did 40K say? I'm trying to find in the chat. Hi, 40K. I didn't see what you said though, but Dawn says good luck. I'd say you're still fungus, love. All right, that's fine, Yvonne. I like fungus. I eat black fungus as part of my cooking, so that's cool. Fungus is like literally the longest living thing that'll be around when we're all gone, and even after the dinosaurs were gone. I saw a Facebook post saying you are not a body with a soul, but a soul with a body. I like that. I like that. I honestly don't even know if I believe in a soul or the idea of a soul, but that would be cool. I guess if you have a soul, I guess you could leave your body and then just enter into another body, and then therefore you would have the same soul. But then it's like, do you get the same karma if you were like a bad person in your previous life? And what do you guys think about that actually? I'm curious, like if you could pick, if you could control on should there be karma or not, and should there be afterlife or not, would you want it? It's like you live your life right now, your current life, and you know all the good things and all the bad things that you've done in your current life right now. For example, I know all the good things and bad things I've done in my current life. It's like, do I actually want to go into an afterlife where it's like I don't get a clean slate? I have to pay for all the bad that I've ever done in this life, every mean thing I've ever said about anybody, any hurt I've ever caused, and then have it hit me in the next life. Do I want that? Or do I just want to kind of end it here? And when I peace out, just leave. Like, what would you guys rather have? No afterlife or yes afterlife? And if so, do you want karma to hit your next life? Or no, just start with a blank slate. The lighthearted will leave Earth. Yes, souls. When there is a plane crash, they usually refer to lost life as souls, like 100 souls were on board. Yes. And then if that were the case, it's like, do we believe in limbo then? Right? Like, what if you were wrongfully taken away, or you felt like there was a lot of stuff you need to finish off? Then does that mean your soul is trapped in this world and you're trying to like finish off what you need to before you go to the next life? Is that also something that you would want? I think it's not a matter of like what is true, what is not, because we'll never be able to prove it. But I think it's more interesting to think like what people would rather have if you had the choice to like design your life. Woke says yes. Henry Beadle says, I prefer a happy afterlife with people I know as opposed to hot burning afterlife. Yeah, I don't really want a hot burning afterlife, no matter what. But then to say like get a happy afterlife with people you know sounds pretty awesome, I guess. Like you just wait for people from this world to like come and join you. But then it's like if that's the afterlife, it's like, do you have different versions? Because I picture people from 200 years ago, they'll still be in the same afterlife world as me with my people that I want to be around. So it's like, do you have the ability to cut those other people off that you don't want to see? I don't want to see dictators. Afterlife with superpowers. Ah, yes. Why don't we just live in a dream? I would like to, like, if I were to pass away, just like forever, live in like a dream world. And then you're just like can do whatever you want, and then you wouldn't be like really hurt. You could fly around, kind of create any world you want. Imagine if it would just be like a computer simulation, and then you could just see whoever you want, cut off whoever you want. Maybe we are in a dream. Exactly, Joe 2.0. How do you know you're not? I mean, I sometimes I have dreams that are so real that I think I'm that person. Like I'm a completely different person. I don't know about you guys, but I usually dream and it's usually not me. Like I'm somebody else. Or even if it is me, sometimes I would have this like completely different personality and the people around me and I have like a different story. So it's kind of like I would know people that I'm talking to in my dream, and it's like we have a whole history together of like decades long. But when I wake up, it's like, who was that? So I sometimes can just like assume somebody else's life in my dreams and know who I am in the dream. Like it's completely weird. Do you guys ever do that, or are you always you in your dreams? Mr. by faith in Christ, there's many unknown of life slash after death. Yes, many, many unknowns. That's why these are all theories. Nobody will ever actually know. Some things that were proven is that life comes from existing life and energy is never destroyed, but only transferred so our spirits will go on somewhere. Yeah, technically, the recent post by Elon Musk is, well, he retweeted it, is completely true that we are technically billions of years old, technically, if you think about it, because our cells are made from previous cells created by previous cells. So, yeah, we are technically billions of years old. I prefer um if I have the happy fulfilling life I have in my head right now, I am happy with resting forever without any after. DX Nieto. Interesting. That's kind of spoken like the Buddha. I told you guys I watched the geniuses of the, is it called geniuses of the previous world, the ancient world, geniuses of the ancient world, and it featured like Socrates, Buddha, and Confucius. So I didn't know about this for the longest time, but apparently, oh wait, 40K, let me add you as my trusty mod here as well. When I leave this life, 40K says, as we know it, I feel like our human minds can't comprehend where we are headed next. Reincarnation, perhaps. Yeah, I I don't think that we would be able to remember who we once were. So, I mean, I think certain people claim that on the news. Like I've seen like crazy stuff on the news, but I don't buy it. Like I've seen, if you Google, I'm sure you'll see like there are certain kids who grow up to be like, I don't know, 8 to 10 years old and claim that they remember who they were and then like go into these small towns and they're able to like talk about the people in the town that they've never seen before and say like, oh, this used to be my wife before I died, and like this used to be my best friend, and this is exactly where I hid this box underneath the soil or whatever. So I've heard stories like these on the internet and like in the news, and I can't buy it unless I personally meet someone who can tell me so much about me without ever having met me, or like a secret that I told somebody who passed away and then they say I'm the reincarnation of your great great grandfather or something like that. So for me, I just can't buy it until I see it actually happening in my life. But what was I saying? Yes, so Buddha apparently went through all the hardships in their lifetime. This is like BC. Um to try and get to nirvana, and they did. So apparently Buddha went to nirvana, or that's how the history books listed it. And the goal for Buddha, though, was so that they wouldn't have an afterlife. They did not want to. Buddha did not want to have an afterlife, apparently. And once they reached nirvana and saw the point of it all, um, they pretty much died without having to reincarnate and have an afterlife, because I think they didn't want to suffer and like relive life again, kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty interesting because I've been to like Buddhist temples and people don't really talk about, or no one there has ever told me about like, oh yeah, so Buddha didn't want to have an afterlife and they're not going to because they succeeded, anything like that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But now it's become like a whole other thing, right? So I think like um for Buddhism it's more about the rules that you follow and to live a good life, and yeah, kind of like a lot of other religions. I think most religions are kind of similar in my mind, um as in trying to live your best life, like but within the realms of the Bible or the rules. His handler laughed and said, this isn't heaven. I don't dream much anymore. Woke. I actually know people who don't dream at all or claim they don't, but yeah, I dream all the time. I used to wake up and actually I would do a dream diary. I would write down like what I've dreamed about, because I mean, usually the really epic ones I can't forget, or the really scary ones I don't forget it anyways. But I've kept some diaries, and sometimes when I look at it, I'm just like shocked because I totally forgot that dream. And it would be interesting, I guess, if you thought that you could predict future in your dream. So if you noted something down and it actually happened 10 years later, would be pretty cool. Uh, there was a weird Twilight Zone episode where I've never watched Twilight Zone. I should start after I finish Riverdale on Netflix. um, Twilight Zone episode where a dead criminal went to afterlife, kept winning at gambling, had everything he wished for, and got tired of it. He wanted some risks and his handler. Wow. That sounds crazy that a dead criminal would be able to go to an afterlife where they just kept getting everything they wanted. Imagine if getting everything you wanted was like the worst thing to happen to you and you don't know that until the end of your life. But either way, why are we all here is it's just a constant theme that always pops in my mind. I could be having like coffee in a random country and then be like, why are we here? Like why is there why or even like why are we all different, right? Like why is life the way it is? Why do we all look different? Like whoever created all of this, whether if it was creation or if we're just a total accident that we became the way we are, it's like why do we even have different races? Why are we all different? Why do we look different? How would life be like if we were just a number? So we recognize each other easily as different human beings, but we're just like a number. So imagine if you're like, you had this alien or super intelligent type of brain processor and you could just look at each other. Like, I can't memorize all of your user handles. I know most of them. I can recognize it, but I can't. If I had like 1,000 user handles to memorize, I wouldn't know who's who. But imagine if your handles, user handles were just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the other person's like AB 1, 2, 3. And imagine if we didn't actually have like faces. What if we were just like this round green ball? Okay, if we're all just green balls, just picture this, just like a green shape. And then you just had like numbers on you, like 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. How would life be like then? We would all definitely have to not worry about plastic surgery, getting fit. We wouldn't have to worry about looks, period. But it's like, how would you go about life? What would that change from like our current way of life now? That'd be so different if you just like take out looks, period. There's no looks, there's no race, there's no difference between us except for like a number that you recognize each other by. Just like kind of picture like fish in the ocean. You'd all just be fish. I mean, I guess in the ocean there's different sizes. So you have a fat fish and a skinny fish. So that's not really what I'm talking about. Talking about what if we're all just like the same thing? Maybe an alien type of being. But you could still talk the way we're talking. Kind of thing. Is that weird to think about? Do you recognize mine? You are voices. Sorry, I don't think I memorized that one. I'm sorry. I remember voices something, so maybe that's you. Um, hold on. But the twist was it was hell, Henry Beadle. Yeah, maybe getting everything you wanted and never being able to get out and just living every day is ultimate hell. I mean, they like to portray it that way in movies with like vampires wanting to die, but they can't. That's Twilight. um, Mike B, the book called Hollow Tropic Mind. This guy wrote down his and other people's experiences while on certain particular mind trips, and how that understand changed the understanding of psychology. Um, I saw that, Mike B. So I was telling you, I watched the Fantastic Fungi on Netflix. So a lot of the theories and like a lot of breakthroughs in psychology actually stemmed from a lot of psilocybe. I can't remember the word. Those magical mushrooms that people eat. Yeah. Psilocybin mushrooms, I think. Um, I once read somewhere that the souls weigh 23 grams. The body was weighed before and after death, and difference was 23 grams. I saw that on Criminal Minds. But then I think on Criminal Minds, they also talked about how there's a lot of myths about like how your nails will grow a lot longer after you die, but that's apparently a myth because really it's your skin that shrinks back or something, and that's why your nails appear to be longer. So there's always like all these fun death factors autopsy will reveal, but I don't think I have the stomach for that to really go and learn too much on it, but I like watching Criminal Minds and learning about things on there. Could be a possibility. Not going to knock it out. I used to dream mostly nightmares, and now that I'm woke, I don't dream much. And I think it means the divine don't need to communicate with me through dreams anymore. Interesting. I feel like usually when I've been more bad, I'll get more nightmares. And the universe blesses me with good dreams when I do better. But there's been a time in my life where it's pretty dark. And I didn't want to wake up. Like I think one of the telltale signs that you're not very happy, uh, depression, whatever you will, is probably you'll find yourself not wanting to wake up and you want to sleep a lot. Because I definitely find that whenever I'm happier, I'm more jittery maybe, and I just get out of bed quicker. Um, and I'm able to just kind of, I don't want to sleep that much. Or maybe because like life is so good at some points, you don't want to fall asleep because in case you get a nightmare and your life is just like so perfect. I definitely felt like I've kind of lived like that at one point, um, whether it be false ideal of perfection or whatever it may be. But I've had days where I just didn't want to go to sleep. That's also kind of same feeling when I'm like excited for a trip. I don't want to go to sleep. So I think that could happen to anybody. But I definitely think if I'm like overly sleeping and I'd rather dream than be in my real life, then I definitely was having problems at that point. Um, Me too. And the original and the 80s and the 90s with Forrest Whitaker, not the new one right now. All right, you guys are talking about shows. Do you recognize that? The Langoliers is a good movie about how time catches up to you. Oh, interesting. Thanks, John John. I'll check that out. Maybe when I finish my Netflix running of Riverdale. Take a picture of that. Uh, the guy even goes deep into explaining the unpredictability of the subatomic world. Well, honestly, I do think about the subatomic world. The subatomic world, I mean, unless I'm wrong, it's like the tiny, tiny, tiny verse, right? It's like the atoms and then the quarks and all that tiny, tiny stuff. I think it's just like I said earlier, it's hard to fathom what you don't know. And we only know so much, even though we think we're really smart and creating supercomputers and whatnot. I think human beings, there's probably another entity out there that's a lot more intelligent, whether we can see it or not. So I do think that naturally you might think that this entity is like bigger than us. Like I said, the way we view ants, like ants are just like small, nothing, and like not intelligent versus humans. So I think naturally I would think if there was God of the universe or gods or some greater superpower beings, they would be like bigger than us, right? Just like taller in size, like 2 times the size of me or 3 times or way bigger, size of a building. So I naturally just like think like that. But what if like if you go on the subatomic level and in the atom universe, it's like more intelligent beings are actually on the smaller scale. I think that's really usually not talked about. And I usually won't think like that. I'll usually think like, oh, okay, well, if there's a God, or if there's a God of the universe, there's like super being. Like I naturally think like, okay, that must be like just someone the size of me or bigger. I never usually think to that level, but it would be cool if there's like gods in the subatomic level, people with superpowers, but they're like yay big. Um, Good looking people without a personality would be screwed, Lucy. You mean like um if we all look the same, then good looking people would be screwed because they won't have an advantage in life? Yes, that's true. But imagine how many problems that would solve. Um that we definitely wouldn't have an issue with like racism if we were all just a round circle. Um and there definitely wouldn't be an industry making money off of like people losing weight and looking better to fit society's norms. So interesting thing. But I do think like if there is a creator that made us the way we are, there has to be some like deeper level meaning, or I hope there is, that maybe they made it so hard for everybody to really come together and unite through all of our differences and different languages, different ways that we look, different belief systems. It's like, what if this is all a test? So we could actually bond and unite even through all the impossible hardships that there is. Henry Beadle, what if we all looked different? If we used each other's eyes, like colors and beauty were all different. Maybe your blonde hair is black in another person's eyes. Yeah, you know what? I actually thought about that, Henry Beadle Jr. I actually thought about how cool it would be if there is no one way of viewing things and we could all view things like entirely different. So it's like, yeah, I could view you guys as like circle balls, or you guys could look at me as like a triangular shape. Like just something really strange and yeah, or more normal. Like, you know, if you just saw me with like different hair colors. I'm pretty sure eventually we could probably all own Google glasses and have that ability. You are the universe looking at itself. I like that. I've seen that quote somewhere, but I definitely do believe we're all connected. And it's like, there's also another saying that I wanted to share with you guys. Somebody once told me that if you think the world is disgusting or a horrible, horrible place, chances are that's kind of how you view your life or maybe how you view yourself. Um, because if you are very happy and you love yourself and you love your life, then chances are you probably view the world as an amazing and beautiful place. So I kind of agree with that and I kind of don't, because I feel like it's 50-50 for me. Well, I guess then that would make sense. Like I feel like I am part 50% good and 50% evil. And then I'm also view the world as 50% good, 50% evil, but more like good in the world than bad though. Cause I feel like if I was doing a live stream with like 10 people, I would assume and think, I like to think that 8 out of the 10 people are just normal, kind, average Joes trying to live a life and figure it out and do the best they can. And then maybe 1 to 2 might be a crazy psychopath. I don't know. We are here to find love, Galaxy. Battle Cat, to find true love. Lucy, remember me. Are you guys all trying to get me to remember? I think so. I think I read Battle Cat somewhere, unless you're lying and this is your first time on my stream. um, but yes, that's neat. The love thing, I think I was always like a crazy romantic. So when I was a kid, I was like, what's the meaning of life? The meaning is to find true love. Uh, not that I don't believe in it. I always believe in true love. And I think that you shouldn't have to be with anybody unless you think it is true love. If there's anything not true about it, then maybe you should get out. But that was more about my relationship live stream, which we could do again in the future. Because I think all these topics I talk about on my live streams with you guys, I could have multiple of. So like in the future, I could do another "Why Are We Here?" or "What Happens After Death" kind of live stream. And some will be repetitive things, and then we could talk about other stuff. But yeah, like anything goes, anything goes. Could do another relationship with in the future. But if that's your point of life, we're talking about how I do think it's really neat. You make your own meaning. That's what most people tell me, anyways. So you make your own meaning in life, then yeah, if you want to find true love and that's it, then all for you. But I mean, once you find it, then you still have a life to live, my friend. Love you too. I know, right? But Mr. By Faith in Christ, Lucy, I couldn't stomach it either. That's like I couldn't be a person who dresses a corpse or does a hair on makeup. Oh no, I know. What did I watch on Netflix? The Bly Manor, I think. The Manor, Bly Manor, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, somebody's job within that show, I think, is to dress corpse and like color them. I mean, do the makeup. I mean, somebody's got to do that job. I mean, not for me. I don't believe in that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I just when I peace out, I would like to just be ashes. But everybody has different belief systems. Some people would like to say goodbye to their loved ones. I'm just want my loved ones to celebrate and have a grand old time. So if I am gone by the time you're watching this video, please make sure that you celebrate my life and death all together and just have a great party and go to the bar and drink. Toast to me. That's it. I don't want to dress up and for you to say goodbye to me. Um, Sterling, also some great interviews on YouTube. Sad he died so young. That would be interesting. Was the time you were depressed when Dogecoin dropped from 73 cents? Flame, it was 75 cents. And no, the time I was really, really sad, my darkest time I remember was a few years back. And I wasn't even in stocks and crypto at the time. So if you think stocks and crypto can get me there, no. I mean, it can. I mean, I've had my negative days. Even some days I'm like, oh God, how did I how did I deal with all of this from May? Not getting a therapist. But yeah, don't worry. I'm good. I don't have dark days just thanks to crypto. I mean, I still gotta be thankful for it. We'll talk about that later though. I wonder how religion will change once life is actually found outside of Earth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Henry Beadle Jr. That's crazy. That's the type of stuff that's like, I don't think the world is, I mean, the world just started to get used to some new things, right? With the pandemic and all that. I can't imagine how they would be able to deal with another form of life. Yeah, that would be like the type of crash into their everyone's reality, my reality, yours, everyone's, to the point where I don't I think we would need to have like a solid week or month to really just like take in that type of information. I mean, if I sometimes just picture like if I saw Superman outside and just like flying around, Man of Steel, like how would I deal? I don't know. Would I still want to live my life normal? Or would I want to get to know Superman and be like, show me how it's done? The elite created different languages to confuse us. Interesting thought on languages, but I mean to separate us. So I feel like languages maybe were naturally just made, period, because I don't know, our ancestors were just too far apart to like be in one room and decide on one damn language. So they were just far apart and they just made their own languages. And it was like, bam, too late. I already did it. I'm not turning back. And you know how stubborn human beings are. They don't want to have the same language. Probably like, well, I have like hundreds of years of history doing this. So my way is the right way. And I don't want to do your way. So I could picture why that's how different languages were created. And even if we were to go back to like the creation of time, even if it was like, let's say I lived 50 miles from you and we just couldn't walk to each other by feet, you created, let's say, Greek, and I created English or something, but then I went to you and then, oh wait, does that work? Okay, I'll say I created Japanese, okay, and you created English, for example. And then we met, and it's only been 10 years of history. I think even with 10 years of history of you creating English and me creating Japanese or something like that, we both probably both just being humans, being stubborn, we're probably going to be like, no, my way is the best way. Like, let's not have the same language. So I think human beings are stubborn, period. So it would have never worked out. We would have different languages no matter what. But it would be neat if we could all communicate in the same language. I think that would probably less issues in the world, just a little less, smidget less, not all that less. All the answers are in the Bible, Katie. Hello, triangle, Aiden. God made languages, Katie says. Sup, hug from Portugal, my guys. Hi, Portugal. The world's wonderful. Not all the people there is evil. Yes, Henry. I too believe that there is evil. If there wasn't, we probably all wouldn't have to have locks on our doors. And I mean, I think we'll still have different homes just to have a place to organize and put our clothes and stuff, right? Aside from that, imagine a world without having locks. Just going into your neighbor's home and grab a popsicle if you want. Lucy, what's your belief on how life started? John 1000. How life started. I don't know. Because like I said, I don't ever really say no to any of the ideas that I've ever heard in life, as ridiculous as they may be. Like if we're a simulation versus if um, we came from like monkeys or we came from like fish, all of these ideas, or if you believe in like any type of religion, I guess it's mostly like created by God, right? Different types of gods. So I don't really say a definitive no to any of those ideas that you've ever possibly heard of, because I just believe that unless I have solid proof that I could get the proof of on my own, not like reading history books or whatnot, or reading somebody else's history, I can't say 100% to anything unless I have the real proof and I feel like I'm smart enough to define the truth. Because I think history could be rewritten. A lot has. I mean, just in ancient Chinese dynasty, I know there's been kings who've written things over what actually happened, which was the truth. So Yeah, I think for me, it's hard for me to say how I think life started because I just listen in on so many different ideas. And I don't want to say a definitive no to any of them. I want to be open to all those possible ideas and then just end the day with those are all possibilities of how life started. But if I had to pick what my ideal, what I would like with no basis, um, I would like to think that life started because there is a point to all of this. And there's a greater being, call it the God of the universe, the greatest being of all, whether it has a human shape form or not, or maybe it's just like some type of an intelligent life form that doesn't have a shape or form, or race or of any sort. I would like to think that that being is the reason we're all here and created, and maybe we're all just putting on a show for this being. Um, but it is our life and it's still valuable, but we are maybe going through tests to maybe prove a point, whether it be to prove a point that after billions of years of life, human beings still can't work together, or it's that maybe after 10 billion years or 100 billion years, one day life on the planet will maybe crack a possible code or break through the tests. Okay, sounds like starting to sound like a movie now. But yeah, I like to think like that. I like to think of our life as more of like there's more meaning to it, like a grander meaning for all of us. Like if this was a test from a greater being, then shall one person one day pass the test? It could unlock something. I don't know, kind of crazy. Uh, well, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. No man gets to heaven but by him. Okay, cool. And by the way, guys, I really appreciate all of you staying with me for like over an hour now. Please, if you haven't already, smash that like button. And if you want to come onto my crazy future live streams, just chatting with you guys about random stuff that's on my mind. Make sure you are subscribed and ring that notification bell. Otherwise, you would not know when I do videos because they're going to be very random. Not going to be every day on this channel. Maybe like once every 2 weeks, like would be a big deal. Would be like max, I think. That's what they're currently doing in India. Okay, quantum computing, permanent trauma. What? It's also amazing how people who couldn't possible know each other, but other built similar pyramids and made similar tools. Yeah, Henry Beadle Jr. That is also crazy. And I mean, I think it's still a mystery, right? I have a mystery book literally that I read, and it talks about how pyramids are an insane like innovation that it still doesn't make sense how they were created. Because I think a lot of people don't understand. Like they just think it's like okay, a pile of rocks, whatever. But no, it's actually extremely hard to build a pyramid. And with the tools and knowledge and technology they had back then when pyramids were built, it's still kind of a question of how the heck did they do it? It's also numbers are the universal language. Yes, DX Nieto. So I'm not such a math whiz, but I think one of my favorite subjects, even though I technically failed a lot of math in high school, I think math is one of the most beautiful courses, and it's like one of the most beautiful things because you can't argue it. It is just what it is. It's like it's the only like definitive truth, I think. Maybe because I suck at math and I just know 1+1 = 2 is the definitive truth. Or you could say 1+1 = window. um, it's also Lucy number one. Thanks, Ben Moon. Chimpanzees. Lucy for president. No thanks. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather be a Socrates than president. I don't think we evolved from monkeys, or there'd still be some half ape/human beings out there still evolving. Henry Beadle Jr. Yes. So I think there is that argument, I've heard about it, that if we did become like from them, then why aren't they still evolving, right? Like crazy. And especially with our technology now, it's like we should be able to help them evolve even faster. What's where they're currently doing it in India are Okay, somebody talked about XRP, Thai, XRP, all that stuff. We'll talk about later when I do my night live stream. And thank you, Don. Yes, guys, really appreciate it if you could also smash the like button on this channel. Faith is believing without seeing. Marianne. Yes, I do believe that. We are ants in the organs of the universe. Wow. I like that, woke. We are. We really are ants. I mean, I feel like with the astronauts like going to space and Jeff Bezos, it's like they see our tiny blue planet. And it's like you get the sense of like they say, or astronauts, a lot of them say that when you go to space, it's like you have this whole otherworldly view of our world. But I feel like in a sense, if you actually picture us as little tiny ants, not even the size of ants in the world of the universe, we're just like a little speck in the universe. If you really believe that, then I don't think you need to go all the way to space to even have that type of mentality. But I guess for some, if you're more of a visual learner, maybe you do need to go to space just to get that idea. Um, humans humans landed on Earth. Intelligent life arrived pretty old and had many babies, but no one to teach them anything as they grew, and the elderly died. Henry Beadle Jr. So we landed on Earth, I guess, is one of your theories then, from maybe another planet. I mean, there is a theory that we could have came from Mars in the past and then slowly to Earth, and then Mars was destroyed. And then now it's like we're going back because Earth one day, if Earth isn't destroyed, then we got to go backwards to the other planets. So I have heard of that theory. That would be pretty crazy too. Egypt is a secret knowledge of life. I really want to go to Egypt. I mean, I don't know I'll discover anything in Egypt, probably not, but definitely one of my bucket list places to visit. I mean, I just feel like it's such a magical, interesting place. David, UFOs built the pyramids. That would explain a lot. It all breaks down in singularity. 40K says the Egyptian pyramids are aligned perfectly with the big and small dippers. Yes, because I do believe why they would do that though, period, because the Egyptians and the Mayans, right? They were very, very interested, I think, in like astrology, and they were very good at it. I mean, I have this book where it talks about how the Mayans and basically ancient life, they were so smart that they created a clock. I mean, I would never put me in a room for 100 years. I'll never be able to figure out how to create a clock that tells time with the sun and rocks. So basically, they use shadow and rocks that they piled. And then with the shadows, you could pretty much tell time, and you would be able to tell like winter solstice and like winter solace. Is that what it's called? And the different seasons that they were currently on, and like the different times. I mean, that's just like really smart. And then I guess they use like water to time during like Socrates time, because that's from the Netflix series that I watched. When they were doing trials, they would have like these water buckets kind of like dripping from one another, and then you'd be able to tell like, okay, if an hour went by like a bucket or something. um they had electromagnetic energy that had manipulated to levitate the objects that created the pyramids. So yes, I've heard about that woke. Like people were saying, is it possible that aliens went back to that time and created the pyramids? I'm open to it. I had come to realize that Jesus' divinity was part of John's theology, not a part of Jesus' own teaching. Part D. All right, it's from the Bible. All right. Yes, 40K official. Many pyramids were built according to the constellations. Yes. Oh, yeah. Chichen Itza, the snake shadow seen at the spring equinox. I think that's probably what I read about Henry Beadle Jr. I've never been to Chichen Itza. I think that's in Mexico, right? But I really, really want to go. The Mayans and the Egyptians are definitely interesting. Thanks, BP. Can't see you guys, but I'm sure y'all look great too. All right. I'm going to peace out. It was super fun talking to you guys about what the point of life is and what some of you think. I know we just barely touched upon it. There's so much more. And it was fun talking to you guys. I don't know how we got to about dreams, but this was super fun. Thank you guys for coming onto my channel, and please make sure you are subscribed and ring that notification bell for future videos. We'll be back. and hang out in the future. So just make sure you ring that notification bell so you know whenever I put out new videos. I will be back later tonight, probably like 8 or maybe 7:30 or something like that PST, for our stock and crypto talk on Living with Luci second channel. So if this is your first time on my channel and you want to talk about stocks and crypto or do a live stream on that one, that's going to be not on this channel but the second channel, the Living with Luci. So you could subscribe to it down in the description below next to my main channel. Bye guys, take care.